Here we go. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Okay. So today we hold a hearing on Intro 1004A, which will help New Yorkers in East New York to create and to renovate affordable and safe basement apartments. And this will be achieved by updating fire, construction, and housing maintenance codes to make sure that basement apartments are safe, and by providing homeowners with loans to undertake these conversions. We'll assess the results, and then we can look at ways to expand this approach citywide. I want to thank Speaker Corey Johnson, HPD Commissioner Maria Torres Springer, Buildings Acting Commissioner Tom Ferriello, Finance Commissioner Jacques Giha, Health Commissioner Dr. Auxilius Barbeau, and Fire Commissioner Dan Nigro. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the Chair of the Committee on Housing and Buildings, Councilmember Robert Cornegy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to the bill sponsors, and good afternoon. Mobilizing to solve the housing crisis means thinking creatively, drawing upon community expertise and reshaping policy to accommodate New Yorkers' needs. This legislation marks another step forward in that mobilization. This pilot demonstrates our collective commitment to pursuing innovative, pragmatic solutions. By launching this pilot program, we grant an important victory to renters and homeowners, taking basement apartments out of the shadows, securing both tenant safety and tenants' rights, and offering an opportunity for homeowners to earn an income while putting affordable units onto the market. This pilot marks a win for renters, a win for homeowners, and a win for the city of New York. As we tackle a housing crisis, we need to be sure to include community leadership, exactly like the coalition of advocates and consensus New Yorkers who campaigned to bring us to this day. And we must remember, our work is not over. We must continue to partner to make the pilot a success, to make the outreach meaningful, and to learn as much as we can about how best to meet the needs of tenants and homeowners. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Now introduce the sponsor of Intro 1004A, Councilmember Brad Lander.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a great day, and because it seems like such an obvious policy, because there's so much consensus and goodwill today, it would be easy to make the mistake that it had been easy getting here, and it has not been easy getting here. This is really an example of dogged policymaking. And I therefore want to thank the folks who really have been with it every step of the way, because it's an example of taking something really rooted in community experience. The first work on this was done by the different community groups in the BASE Coalition, by Chaya CDC, led by Aneta Sicharan, then by Seema Agnani, and Cypress Hills Local Development Corporation, and Impact, and the Center for New York City Neighborhoods. Great leadership from the Pratt Center. Really thoughtful research then. Citizens Housing Planning and Council over 10 years ago realized there were more than 100,000 units probably that were occupied, but we don't know that they're safe, they're not legal. How do we confront that problem? Strong organizing over years, and then really good leadership on both sides of City Hall. And I want to really appreciate the leadership of Councilmember Espinal and Councilmember Barron, who saw that the East New York rezoning was an opportunity to push something forward that people knew was a good idea, but hadn't found the right place or frame, and their advocacy helped push it forward. And then your administration, Mr. Mayor, really brought together all those disparate agencies that you named who want to do the right thing but need a structure for working together to solve problems. Well, this is a hard problem and everybody knows it, but I think the solution that was come up with here really demonstrates the power of that shared dogged policy making, and we're going to learn things here that will be helpful to us taking citywide after the pilot is over. I also want to say a big thank you to the council staff who did the work on this bill, to Megan Chen, Austin Branford, Jose Conde, Sarah Castellum, and to my former policymaker, Annie Levers, for her great work helping us get this across the line, bringing these basement units out of the shadows and up into the light of good policy. This is a good day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A lot of electronics going on here. So next, my pleasure to introduce Councilmember representing East New York and co-sponsor of Intro 1004A, Councilmember Inez Barron.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Oh, I have somebody in the audience.
That's right. That's right. You have a fan club.
I'm certainly so pleased to be here. at this bill signing and been able to be a part of crafting this bill, but I certainly have to give acknowledgement to my council member, Brad Lander, my colleague, because he's been working on this with the advocates for years and years and years. It's been a long time coming, and there was a lot of input from the community as to things that they wanted to see added to the bill to make it more representative. So what we have here today is a pilot, which we hope will be so successful that we'll be able to replicate it throughout other communities here in the city. And it will allow those people who are living in basements to know that where they're living is safe, it's affordable, because we're going to require that going forward. And we're also not just giving landlords the opportunity to be guided through all of the agencies and the bureaucracy to get the paperwork done, but helping them to get loans that will make this a reality. So we're no longer going to be burdened by people who are couch surfing and living doubled up. There will at least be 40 apartments that will be made available to the persons who are living in those conditions. And we're glad that we had this opportunity to extract this from the East New York rezoning plan. I'll be gentle.
Extract. Today's verb is extract. It's a dental term.
I do want to thank the speaker. I want to thank the mayor, of course, and my colleague, Rafael Espinal, the legislative staff that took all of the hard work to drafting this bill, my chief of staff, Joyce Simmons, Anita Fisher, the director of community relations, and my staffer, M. Indigo Washington, my CUNY liaison. Thank you so much.
Thank you, council member. And now my pleasure to introduce, also representing East New York and also co-sponsor of Intro 1004A, Councilmember Rafael Espinal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First and foremost, I really just want to give a big thank you to the community of Cypress Hills Local Development, and the Pratt Institute, who have really been on the ground working with my office, with the agencies for the past 2.5 years to figure out what is the best way to move forward, and we finally got here. And I really want to remind all New Yorkers that this would not have been possible if it would not have been for the East New York Neighborhood Plan. It really took a lot of us to figure out what is the holistic approach we can take to secure the people who live in the community and making sure that they have the tools they need to fight back against gentrification. And I'm lucky to have been able to work with the mayor, who understood the importance of that. You know, we made a lot of tough decisions. A lot of people did not want to see us go forward, but we knew this was the way we had to go in order to ensure that we continue protecting the communities of our city. So this is a program that's going to promote economic democracy for homeowners, stabilize the tenants who live in those basements, and also path a way for the future of how do we continue bringing apartments online so we can deal with the affordable housing crisis. So I really want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, for being there and really listening to the importance of making this happen. And I want to thank the staff that's been working to draft these bills, and also the co-sponsors as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, council member. It's now time for public testimony. We have one individual signed up, Aneta Sucharan. Come on up.
Hello, I can't believe I'm the only one who wants to speak. Well, it's no secret that this is a historic day. We've been waiting for this day for over a decade. Thank you for acknowledging Seema Egnani, the founder of Chaya Community Development Corporation, who were one of the visionaries who identified this issue over a decade ago. I want to really express gratitude to you, Mr. Mayor de Blasio, for believing in the vision of basement apartments as an important solution to the affordable housing crisis. And of course, I want to thank our partner who stayed with us for over a decade, Councilmember Brad Lander, for your work, and Councilmember Espinal, and of course Councilmember Barron for supporting this very important effort. We didn't get here, as Councilmember Lander said, that easily. It was truly a long fight. And in that fight were so many of you, and so many of you who are not here today, but really this was truly a ground-up effort. And we see today as truly a first step to a citywide effort, and that is what we are committed to continue to work for. So thank you again to everybody who played a really important role in this effort. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. So before I sign this legislation, just want to offer a few brief comments and this really is about the underlying values that this administration brings to the issue of affordable housing and to the concerns of our neighborhoods. So we have to recognize the people who built our neighborhoods have to have the ability to stay in them. And so many New Yorkers at this point are struggling to make ends meet. And these are often the same folks who lived through some really tough times in a lot of our neighborhoods, but stuck with it, stood by the neighborhood, stood by the city. We want to make sure they have an opportunity now to experience the good things that are happening and to benefit from them. So we believe that affordable housing is not something that ever can be considered optional. We believe it is a mandatory part of everything that the city government needs to do. Obviously, this council has been outstanding in supporting that notion, literally through legislation like mandatory inclusionary housing that has made a huge difference. We have, in the course of the last 5 years, built and protected the most affordable housing in the history of New York City. And we've also focused with the council on ensuring that evictions go down and that New Yorkers have the kind of legal support to avoid illegal evictions. We've decreased evictions by a record-breaking 37%. We intend to do a lot more. And again, a tremendous thank you to the members of the council who led the way on the right to counsel legislation. The rezoning of East New York, also another example, a very intensive process working with community leaders to get to an outcome that would support affordability for so many members of the community. The next step as we fight to create more affordable housing is literally down the stairs. The next step is to look to the basements and to see what tremendous opportunity there is there to preserve affordable housing and to make sure it's safe for the people of this city. There are literally thousands of basement apartments in New York City, many thousands, but too many of them are illegal and unsafe. And we need to create an approach that makes them safe, makes them affordable, makes them a place for New Yorkers to turn going forward. So renovating these units in East New York is absolutely crucial to the future of the whole city, all 5 boroughs. We believe we're going to find success in this effort, and it will then lead us to an approach that will help to ease the affordable housing crisis all over the city, that will give hardworking homeowners and their families a new legal form of income. And that's going to help a lot of working class homeowners, middle class homeowners, and low income homeowners to keep their homes and stay in their neighborhoods. And it will, of course, make our tenants safer, which is absolutely crucial. So there's a lot here that we're beginning today that I think could have huge ramifications for the future, and everyone who's been a part of it, I want to thank you for that, because I think you've started something very, very important here. I also want to make sure that all New Yorkers know, if they're interested in converting basement apartments and making sure, if you have a basement apartment you own, you want to make sure it is safe. You want it to be something that can provide housing for others and income for you and your family. Call 311 and we can help you to know the right way to do it. We want people who are interested in basement conversion to have all the support they need. You can also go online at nyc.gov/basement conversion. Someone was not very creative with that one, but hey, nyc.gov/basement conversion. It's memorable. So the goal that we've set for this entire term is to be the fairest big city in America. We're already the safest, but we want to be the fairest big city in America. This action today on basement apartments is a really important step in that direction. I just want to say a few words in Spanish before I sign the legislation. Hoy estoy firmando una ley para combatir la crisis de la vivienda asequible en nuestra ciudad. Con esta ley ayudamos a los dueños de viviendas en East New York a convertir sus sótanos en apartamentos seguros y asequibles. Seguimos trabajando para asegurar que la gente que construye sus vecindarios puede seguir viviendo en ellos. So those who built their neighborhoods actually get to live in them. And with that, let's gather around and sign this legislation. Kara, you said 35? We have a lot of trays.
A lot of.
It's 12 in a tray, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going. Very literal. A lot of pens. Here is another council member. Well done. Thank you. Robert, I know you're blooming there. Yes, sir. We call a no-look pass.
I don't know how he's gonna do in the basement apartment.
Certainly not for me. Tell my friends that here in governmental, something our pens are not very lively today. Do some pen testing. There we go. Do you need any that you're sending anyplace else or all just here?
If there are extras.
What do you need? Okay, you tell me when.
One more tray. Yep.
One more tray.
Yep. There we go.
Pens everywhere. And as you got Who says government's slow?
We can sign that bill with 36 pens.
The legislative process does take time. There we go.
You've gotten good at this, like, disjointed.
Yeah, it's really pretty fun. You need it?
Just one, two actually.
Two. One. Two, I got two left.
It's impressively done.
Yeah, see if it all works. Okay. Done? And now, just clean it up a little there. And with this pen, this bill is now law. All right, congratulations, everyone. You're very, very welcome. Well done. Congratulations. It was simple as that. The last part was easy.
Yes, very good.
Slow but easy. And this concludes the hearing. Hearing is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.